Hello, I'm Ed Marks. I'm Director for New Mexico Legal Aid, and welcome to our second JusticeHub.Tools project demo. For this video, we'll be showcasing the new New Mexico Legal Aid Grants Management Dashboard. It's a powerful tool that helps maximize grant revenue, balance workloads, and achieve more successful outcomes for our clients. The dashboard is coded in a software called R, gives frontline legal aid case handlers direct access to user-friendly data tools that will let them know at a glance whether they are on track to meet key deliverables for grants or projects they are assigned to. For legal aid managers, the dashboard offers additional tools that let them easily review case and grant data for individual staff or for multiple case handlers on their teams. My favorite part about this is that the dashboard needs only minimal training for someone to be able to use it. No data geek experience is required. If you're interested in building access to justice technology, working with legal aid advocates, or simply want to help your community, join us on JusticeHub.Tools, a social networking hub aimed to aid in the identification, prevention, mitigation, and solving of justice issues that affect our communities. Now let's get started with the grants dashboard. This first screen that we're looking at tells an individual attorney for a specified date range how many cases that he or she has worked on within that range of time. For this demo, we've chosen the month of April 2018, and we've picked an attorney who does domestic violence work. So this at a glance tells us that she has done 61 cases or worked on 61 cases during the month of April. It gives her the cases arranged in order from the most time spent on a single case to the least time spent on a single case during the month. So we know at a glance that this high bar here, where she spent 12.1 hours on this case, that was the one that got most of her attention during the month of April. And at the other end of the scale, then there were several cases that were just being monitored and had only a minimal amount of time spent on them. And so either the attorney or her manager can hover over any part of the graph that they want. They can look at the closed cases, which are the ones in gold, and jump right to the case management system with those case numbers there to see all the details, or they can look at the ones that are in progress and do the same thing. They can instantly see which cases these were and go into the case management software to see as much detail as they need to see. Now, if I'm the manager and want to know for the funding sources that this attorney worked on, which are two of our larger domestic violence grants, the funding codes are here at the bottom of the screen, 61 and 45. And first, by glancing at this, I'll know as a manager that yes, these are the correct funding sources this attorney is assigned to. If I saw a code down here in this part of the graph that told me that there was work being billed to a grant this attorney was not supposed to be working on, that would be helpful to let me know I need to check to make sure something is not miscoded. It will let me know that I need to check to make sure that someone else is not pulling the attorney off the work she's supposed to be doing and having her focus on something else. So as a manager, if I wanted to see for either of these grants how much was done in the same time period, I could take the individual attorney ID out, and then I can put in either of those funding codes. Let's go for the one here that was the larger grant, which is code number 45 in our system. And it will tell me during the month of April that all my staff worked on a total of 254 cases under this statewide grant. And there were 25 different attorneys and paralegals working on those 254 cases. And I'll be able to know, does that track with the deliverables we're trying to achieve? Is that the right amount? Is that in the ballpark for how many we want to see in a given month? Or is it too high or too low? And if it's too low especially, that will let me take some immediate steps to find out why the cases are dropping off and get it corrected before we find ourselves in a situation where we're falling too far behind in that grant to catch up with the deliverables that are expected. Again, even no matter how many numbers of cases are in a particular result, I can hover over the bar and find out what the case number was. So for this case that someone spent 41 hours on in a single month, I would want to go look at that one to see why is that one demanding such attention compared to the others. And I imagine it probably has something to do with heading to trial or being in a contested hearing posture. I could also filter by closing codes. For the ones that were closed, I can find out, okay, how many went to court and were settled by an uncontested court decision. And that pops up and gives me a result of 9 cases were settled uncontested in court. I can do the same thing for cases that were negotiated, and that tells me that for this grant, negotiated settlements were 7 during that month, and I can basically find out the same kind of information for any closing code that I want to put into the system. So if I went to contested court decisions where it went to a trial and the judge had to render a decision, then for the month of April, this graph shows me in a matter of seconds that there are 20 such cases involving 11 different attorneys in our statewide program. So I'll know at a glance whether that puts us on track for what I want to see or not, for what the funder is expecting or not, and help me take steps to catch up or reallocate workload if the results look out of balance. So again, as well, I can tell for any attorney for all funding sources that attorney might be working on. I'll use the same attorney here and I'll expand the date range. So let's say I want to look back let's say I want to look back 6 months and find out how many cases did this attorney work on. So this attorney has worked on 189 cases. Let me start over. So if I look back 6 months, put this attorney's code number in again, it will tell me that in the past 6 months, this attorney has handled 30 contested court decisions, and I'll know at a glance whether that is on track for that attorney's experience level and expertise. I can take the filter out for how the case was closed and know that all cases put together, this attorney worked on 188 files, including cases where she may have given only a small amount of time. As you can see to the right side of the grant here, those cases were likely just quick counsel and advice cases. And as you move further to the left, you'll see the ones that required court work and other extended services to resolve the client's problems. The system will also tell me the non-case activity that the attorney's been working on during whatever date range I specify. So I can go into the button for non-case data, and it will show me at a glance by these funding codes or these activity codes at the bottom what she was spending her time on other than casework. It will also tell me at the bottom what she was billing her non-casework activity to, so I'll know at a glance whether these funding sources allow that type of billing or not. And if they don't, I'll be able to take quick action to change it to correct the problem so that we don't end up misbilling something. So what we believe is going to happen with this system is that by having easier access to real-time data, that the attorneys don't have to wait until some central data manager somewhere tells them what's going on with their caseload or their other work. They'll be able to see more quickly at a glance whether they're in the ballpark for the number of cases they're expected to be handling or not. So, for example, if this attorney wanted a year to date going back to January 1st, they would see that they've worked on 124 cases so far, and that would let them know, based on the deliverables their manager had given to them, whether that's right number or not. If it's too many, they could go to their manager and say, help me reallocate my workload. This is too many on my plate. If it's not enough, they could work with their manager or other staff to see how to get more referred their way. whatever the mix and match is, this gives them a window into what's going on rather than just having to guess or wait for a quarterly report to come out from some other place. So the attorneys and their managers can log into this daily, weekly, quarterly, as often as they need, and they'll get this real-time picture of what's going on with their data. So why is that important? Well, it's important for a number of reasons, but one of the most important is that we believe this is going to save our program tens of thousands of dollars by making our frontline case handlers, attorneys, and paralegals more proactive in figuring out whether they're on track to meet deliverables on a certain grant or not. Certainly the managers working with the teams that are assigned to these grants will be able to look at the information that's most likely to tell us whether we're going to be able to close out a grant on time or whether we might have to do something different to make sure we don't fall behind and leave money on the table. This system will work with any case management database that is being used currently in legal aid, including PICA, Legal Server, KEMPS, you name it, any database that can export data into a CSV, comma separated value spreadsheet will work with this, and almost all the databases can use CSV format. It's something that any Excel user will also be familiar with. So that's all you have to do is decide what variables you want to be able to have your staff be able to access. Then you put that into a template that is set up in a CSV spreadsheet. You export it into this system, and then any attorney who needs to get access to the data can do so. It would also work for any nonprofit that is not a legal aid program, as long as that nonprofit tracks the variables and the data needed to judge whether they are meeting their deliverables obligations or not, as long as they do that in a database that, again, can export to CSV formatted spreadsheets, which is nearly everything that will be on the market, whether you're a legal aid program or a health clinic or a homeless shelter or anything that you can imagine. So we believe this is going to help make underspent grants a thing of the past, because we'll get much more timely, accurate, detailed information about why a particular grant may be falling behind and be able to take immediate action to turn that around. If you would like to find out how you can make this work for your own program, then contact us on justicehub.tools, and we'll make sure that we set up a one-on-one demonstration for you and your staff and let you know the options for how you can make a dashboard system using this software that was developed through justicehub.tools. We'll let you know how you can set it up for your own program. We think the cost will be very modest. The returns will be very great. We hope your staff is going to find this useful. This is but one example of the many kinds of things we hope to see happen through the collaboration that will be possible on justicehub.tools between legal aid leaders and technology community leaders across the country. So we look forward to collaborating with you on this and other projects, and thank you for watching.